Hello everyone and welcome to another devlog video for the Animal Behavior Kit Pro. I am so excited to share with you guys what I've been working on for the past few evenings. So one of the things for the 1.4 update is making the AI more realistic, adding new features, but overall just improving the quality of the way that obviously the animals behave. And I've had a suggestion several times actually of improving just the general movement of the AI. Right now, if you simulate the AI, it just feels very robotic. It'll pick a location and it'll just turn and then just go straight to that location. So some people suggested using curve-based movement. So kind of creating like a spline-like movement when instead of going from A to B, it just kind of has like a smooth transition. And I saw that after I implemented the new path following code, and I really like the way that the AI moved, if you saw that devlog a few months ago. So that was my initial thought. I said, well, what if I spawn a very lightweight spline actor with a spline component, set the spline to the start and end, and then just follow the spline, basically doing what I'm doing on the other task. But I didn't want to do that because that would mean every single AI would have to be spawning new actors. That's not ideal. So then the idea came as, well, a spline is basically a Bezier curve, which is a mathematical way of describing a curve. So what if I create a Bezier curve programmatically? Not a real curve, but just basically represent it in code and then follow that. So that's how it started. I said, okay, I think that's probably a viable solution. And well, I went online and I looked at the formula here on Wikipedia for Bezier curves. And I said, okay, I can probably implement this in Blueprint. Then I decided, well, maybe there's a tutorial out there. And I actually found one tutorial about how to implement this in Blueprint, a very simple example. But with all that knowledge, I set up to actually implement it here for the AI. And I got it to work, and I'm super excited because I think it's going to make a big difference. So first of all, let's go ahead and simulate. This is just the bear picking a random location on the nav mesh. You can see that it just picks a location and just rotates and then just goes to that location in a straight line. That's basically the regular behavior using the nav mesh. Obviously, the closest or the shortest path between 2 points is the straight line. So that's basically the regular behavior, and it's fine, but it's not as realistic. So what I did is I created a new section here. It's called smooth movement, and now I'm just going to go ahead and enable it. And what this does is create a Bezier curve programmatically from the location when you start to that target location. We have the target location, that's the red, and then it creates a curve and tries to follow the curve by following several steps. So now if I click simulate, you will see we got to wait for an example that is not too exaggerated, and I'll explain that in a second. So these examples where the angle is too high, like it's going behind, is not using the Bezier curve, but you can see here that it actually is using it. So you can see it tracks and traces a curve and then does basically mini steps to get to that location. As you can see, instead of going straight like this, it's now following the path. So let me show you that a little bit more. So if you look at the settings here, it's very simple. You just enable it by one checkbox here. And it has a few settings like the minimum distance to apply smooth movement. So if for whatever reason the new location is very, very close within this distance, it's not going to apply the curve because it doesn't look natural to have like such a steep curve. And then I'm also looking at an angle to apply. And that's why if the target location is really far behind, meaning the angle's like 180, 140 degrees, meaning he'll have to turn more, I am basically not applying it. So this is just a way of making sure that the AI looks a little bit more natural. Otherwise, you'll get a case where the target location is really behind and then you have like a very pronounced curve, which doesn't make sense. You just turn. And then you have a curve step factor. Basically, I'm sampling the curve on a 0.1 basis. It's normalized between 0 and 1. 0.1 means that I'm going to sample it 10 times, right? 10%. And then this is the anchor point. Basically, I am creating an anchor point. That's how I'm interpolating between those two. So if I just debug the Bezier curve path here, it's going to draw the path. It's going to be a little bit easier to see. And we're going to go ahead and click simulate. Right here, the angle was too steep, so it doesn't use it. It just turns. But look at that. It traces the Bezier curve and now it's following the curve until it gets to its location. Surprisingly, the way I implemented it, because I am doing discrete steps, is actually not too heavy programmatically. So I think you can look at that. So I think you could implement this without much worry for your animals as a regular setting. If you decrease the step here to something like 0.05, then it's gonna sample the curve more, and that's gonna become obviously heavier. But again, those are the settings that you have to kind of play around with. But as you can see, instead of going from here to here in a straight line, it has a much more natural movement. So that's pretty much it. It's super simple. After it's been implemented, all you have to do is literally enable it. I'll probably have it disabled by default because I do want you to understand that you are enabling something that is going to cost you a little bit more performance. But honestly, I'm very surprised at how well it works. With some very simple parameters here, you can see from here to here, it did not use it because it was almost like a 180. But from here to here, it did use it. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Super short video. I have other things in flight that are gonna be I'm gonna be showing later on. They're a little bit more complex. Like I have new attack improvements for the AI. If you've been on Discord, you'll seen some screenshots. But that's still a little bit early. I wanna work on a little bit more, and that's gonna be my next devlog. But I did want to make this really short one to show you guys this smooth movement feature, something that's been requested for a while, and now it's finally here, and I am super excited. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any suggestions for the upcoming update, leave them in the comments or join our Discord and leave them there. I do take your suggestions very seriously. All right, thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.